All right, my friends. So we are creating a graffiti name project. You will need a pencil, eraser, paper, black or dark marker, color pencils, and understand value, which is lightness or darkness of a color, and understand color use. If you're fourth grade, you will be using monochromatic colors. If you are in fifth grade, you will be using complementary colors, which are opposite in the color wheel. So let's start. I'm showing you my example. On the top, I already created letters, Mrs. Sandine. And on the bottom, I showed you my first name. That my first name is Jessica. What you do is you draw your name out first, as you regularly do, and separate space in between each letter. Then, in order to create graffiti letters or bubble letters, you're going to trace around the letter. You see that? Creating them thicker around your letters. Around your letters. You trace around your letters. And remember, you have to draw out your name first and be sure you have space in between. Keep watching. All right, trace around your letters. See that? Okay. So now it does not look like graffiti art or bubble letters, but I'm going to clean it up with my eraser. You should use the eraser of your pencil or the extra erasers on your table. You probably will have 2 erasers per team, aside from some people having erasers on their pencils. And if the pencil doesn't have an eraser, it's because my students are using the erasers. So clean it out as best as you can. If you still have marks, you can do it again. So that way you are not confused. Yep, shake out that paper, clean it out, and get ready for your bubble letters. So now that you have bubble letters, you're going to create the area of shadow. The light is on the top. The shadow will be on the bottom. And if you want to, it could be on the bottom and the left, just like mine. You see, I'm creating an outline for the darkest shadow on the bottom and on the light, on the left. And the light is reflecting on the top. That's why I keep pointing with my fingers. So create an outline for your shadow to make your letters 3-dimensional. Graffiti letters are 3-dimensional. Even the artwork that they design on buildings, it's as possible 3-dimensional or with a shadow. Okay. All right. So now that your shadows are in your letters, now you're going to decide the highlights. The highlights will be on the top. We're going to create a little edge, just like you create a little edge for bubbles. There's going to be a highlight, an area that's going to be white, the reflection of the light. Okay. All right. So I have my highlights, I have my shadows, and my letters. Boom. Okay. So now I'm going to think about, in a moment, what I want to draw inside the letters. Something is about me. Something it's about my personality or my likes. So in my case, I like gardening aside from art. That's what I do. If it's a nice breezy day, that's what I do. It helps me relax. So I'm going to draw a couple of plants. I would like for everybody to draw inside every single letter, but for the purpose of explaining and showing, I'm going to draw it in 3 letters. So I'm drawing my pollinators, my plants, and a couple of leaves. Okay, so that part is done. Now, if you are in 4th grade, you will be using monochromatic colors. That means one color showing the lights and the darks. I'm going to fix this. It's moved around. That's okay. I'm going to fix it. So I found my color pencils. I have a dark blue and a light blue. Let me fix this again. Okay. So I'm going to create from light to dark. So I'm going to color it lightly first. That's the best way to shade, my friends. lightly first, because if you make a mistake, you can easily fix that. The same like with the pencil. When we practice with our pencils, we go from light to dark. It's much easier to do that. So I'm going to color lightly my first letter. Color it in, check all the empty spaces, and if you notice, I'm using my pencil sideways, and I'm holding my pencil, my fingers away from the point. Now I'm going to make it darker. If you notice, I am pressing over some areas to make that area darker. So I have a darker area and a lighter area. Now I want a third level of darkness. Very dark, less dark, and light to show value. So I'm going to fill this in, complete my letter. All right, you see that? You see that? The left-hand side is darker, then the top is lighter. I'm going to go over the edge of the letter just for the letter to pop. I'm going to be careful, not go around my pictures. If I get out of the line a little bit, no big deal, because later, when we're tracing with a dark marker or black marker, we can cover our mistakes if we get out of the letter as we're coloring. No big deal. That's the reason for tracing it later. So I'm going to trace over the edge of my letter, around my highlights, and then that letter is almost done. Okay, so I'm going to use the other blue since I'm doing a monochromatic letter or word. That means I'm using one color. Mono means one. It's a term used also in science and other areas. And I know if you speak Spanish, you're probably thinking mono like monkey, because that's the word for monkey in Spanish, but it's not. In English, it means one. Okay, so I'm going to color it in. You notice I'm starting to make it slightly darker on the left. So I have light, a medium darkness, medium value, and darker. Boom. So now, once all my letters are colored in and my designs in the letters are colored in with a pencil, I'm going to go ahead and trace with that marker. And if you notice, if I went out of the lines, I can cover it and protect my word or letters. All right, so I'm going to go over with my markers. And if you forgot to trace over the highlights a little darker with a color pencil, no big deal. You can do that later because that's minimum. That's pretty small. All right, so design your letters. And so you're aware of the beginning, the drawing part is what will take longer. Coloring, not so much. Tracing is actually the fastest part. All right. If you're in 4th grade, we use monochromatic colors. That means one color for all the letters, from light to dark. But if you are in 5th grade, you're using complementary colors, opposite on the color wheel. This is a color wheel. Yellow is the opposite of violet, green, the opposite of red, orange, the opposite of blue. These are the combinations. You see that? And this would be for 5th grade. All right? Thank you for watching.